It's Morbin time. This is my review of Morbius. Directed by Daniel Espinosa, Morbius is the debut feature of the titular Marvel antihero. And it's about a doctor who's suffering from a blood disease, and in order to cure himself, he does some sciencey things that revolve around bat genes, which he injects upon himself and turns him into, you guessed it, a blood-sucking vampire. The story and plot of Morbius is unfortunately pretty standard, generic, and honestly kind of bland. Not only is it a story that feels like it has been done a million times before with nothing really new and fresh, but also it doesn't do a good job in making you care about what's going on. Plenty of essential moments happen that are supposed to impact you, that should give you an emotional reaction, but they just don't. You don't care about anything here. You don't feel anything. You don't feel like there's a lot of weight, a lot of depth, and which is mostly the result of weak character work. A lot of scenes happen and you're all like, oh, okay. Also, there are plenty of times where this movie just doesn't really make much sense. There are plenty of moments that happen so suddenly without the necessary build-up, and they even come off as just illogical. Speaking of which, the villain sucks because he especially doesn't make any sense. At first, he has an understandable motivation to become a monster. He wants to break free from what's keeping him back, and it is understandable and even sympathetical. But out of nowhere, he just suddenly decides that it's okay for him to kill innocent people? Where did that come from? There was no hinting, no build-up that deep down he was always evil. No, like the entire time when before he became a monster, he seemed like a nice guy who just wanted help. But he goes from that to suddenly becoming a murderer? What? Now, something that I did enjoy about this movie are the fight scenes. I mean, they're by no means anything spectacular or anything, but I did think they were cool enough. I like how Morbius jumps around his enemies with the camera following him around. I thought it was cool. It was entertaining. Morbius is a pretty mediocre film. Aside from the action sequences, the story and characters were bland, the ending was so abrupt, a lot of times it didn't make any sense, the villain sucked, and honestly, all of this was a real shame because I did see some potential in this movie. There were some scenes that I was all like, okay, if they focused more on that, then this could result in a very interesting picture. If they truly went out with it, I could have certainly liked this, but unfortunately it doesn't, and so we're left with a pretty disappointing superhero film. I'm gonna give Morbius a 5 out of 10. Stay tuned if you would like to see more film reviews. Peace out, fellow moviegoers.